Hello and welcome to LNP's The Huddle. I'm Tim Gross, joined by John Walk and Dave Byrne. It's the final heat wave of the season, hopefully, but we're here to talk about the high school football schedule that's heating up itself. Week 2, we got some big matchups. First, we're going to be talking about Conestoga Valley and Solanco, and then we'll be talking about Garden Spot at Warwick. So let's start with our game of the week, Solanco and Conestoga Valley. What do you guys think of that matchup? They're both 1-0. They both came off some big wins last week. So how do you see those two teams matching up?
Yeah, Solanco, the 36-6 win at Pottstown, and Conestoga Valley, the big win at 54-7 at Ephrata. This matchup last year, if you kind of go back to that, Solanco won convincingly, 54-21. Now, CV does have 9 starters back on defense this year, but I don't see them finding a way to stop the triple option, just like they weren't able to do last year. Yes, Solanco came into the year a bunch of questions on both sides of the ball because they had pretty much all new faces on both sides, and they put any of those worries to bed with their Week 1 win at Pottstown with the trusty triple option. I think they gathered nearly 400 rushing yards. I don't see that changing at all this week. It will be interesting to see if the Solanco defense has any trouble with a good quarterback in Grant Stoltzfus, but I don't think it'll matter here. I'm going with the Mules. How about you, Dave?
Yeah, to be specific, Solanco ran for 399 yards and 59 times. They also passed 3 times. How about that? Completing one for 42 yards. On a night when CV also rushed 35 times for 272 yards, Grant Stoltzfus threw 3 touchdown passes of his 5 completions, 210 yards. But Solanco is not Ephrata, and CV is not Pottstown. The Bucks will be hard-pressed, I believe, to duplicate their Week 1 output, but Solanco will be challenged also, but I still think they win handily.
Yeah, I agree with you guys. I think Solanco just has that big physical. They're just going to pound the ball. They're going to run it right at you, and I think that's more sustainable than Conestoga Valley, trying to mix it up a little bit. They do have playmakers. Grant Stoltzfus, I think he will be able to pass the ball on Solanco a little bit. So like you guys said, it'll be interesting to see what Solanco's defense brings to the table on that one. But in that matchup last year, Solanco also had 2 big fumbles that led to Conestoga Valley touchdowns. So, if Solanco can take care of its business, hold onto the ball, and control the tempo of the game a little bit, I think it's Solanco all the way. Let's go to Garden Spot in Warwick. Garden Spot came off that 28-21 win over Wild Missing on Saturday. Warwick had a tough time of it against Manheim Central last week. You think they can bounce back?
Yeah, and any team's going to have trouble going against a Manheim Central team that seems like it's back to being Manheim Central again. That was a 38-17 win by Manheim Central over Warwick. This will be a different game for Warwick in that with Central they had to worry about the passing game, whereas more Garden Spot's pretty much going to be all run-oriented. So that'll be a change up there. Garden Spot running back Jahad Jeffers last week, 176 rushing yards and 28 carries and 3 touchdowns. So you got to think Warwick's defense will come out a little bit more fired up after giving up 37 points. They do have 9 returning starters this year on that side of the ball. I think this game will be close, but I like Garden Spot's defense more than I do Warwick's, and just overall, Garden Spot just has more weapons offensively, so I'm going to take the Spartans in this one.
Yeah, Warwick can pass a little. Tyler Tremarkey completed 20 of 27 for 222 yards against Manheim. There's no reason in my mind to believe that he couldn't duplicate that against Garden Spot. But, as you say, Jahad Jeffers ran the ball, and it's hard to complete a pass if the other guy's running back has it in his belly. Wild Missing did manage to complete some passes against Garden Spot, and I think if Tremarkey gets the chance, it could be interesting. I'm really back and forth in this game, and I'm picking Garden Spot, but I don't feel real confident about it.
Neither do I.
Yeah, it's a real toss-up. I also had Garden Spot too, but I also think having the lead is going to be a big factor here because, like you said, if they can get Garden Spot gets the lead, they can just keep handing it off to Het Jeffers, who's used to the workload and can really move the ball. I think there are a lot of playmakers on both sides in this one. Everyone talks about Garden Spot's running game, but Mackenzie Falk, the wide receiver for Garden Spot's really good too. Cameron Ross, an experienced quarterback. So I think the Spartans have some options. Warwick's defense, again, susceptible to some big plays. They gave up a lot last week. But again, like you guys said, Warwick managed to move the ball too against Manheim Central last week. So again, it could go either way, but I'm going to stick with Garden Spot on my prediction. Those are our picks. We're all in agreement on this one, so we're a big happy family. Follow our coverage on LancasterOnline.com throughout the weekend. Be sure to follow us on social media. We'll have updates. And check out our prediction show every Thursday afternoon.